What's a good word, everyone? It's your boy DKB here. I just want to say thanks for all the support. The channel's been steadily growing, and the number you see below, you can drop a text, shoot a voicemail, any ideas, topics, collabs, etc. you guys want to see. I'll include them in future videos and live streams, and I'll catch you again. Be easy. What's a good word, Jets fans? It's your boy DKB here. One of the things I'm still waiting for under Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji is that huge breaking news, significant roster change. And I don't know how soon or late it'll come. It all just depends, right? Maybe a major cut, a major trade, a big free agent payday signing, maybe a draft pick where you get a quarterback of the future in an unexpected round like the first one, for example, maybe the second, something of that sort, right? Now, I don't count Aaron Rodgers in that trend because in my mind it was always a foregone conclusion he was going to be gone. But still, it's a common trend for new regimes throughout the NFL that they make that statement move to let the franchise know they're not looking to settle, or they're looking to weed out some of the bad guys that immediately they can identify aren't going to fit or don't want to have to work on the rebuild that it's going to take for the new regime's vision to be installed. This Cowboys New York Jets trade is the first one that I've really looked at and said this could be a legit situation where not only is it a win-win situation, and just for what it's worth, I can definitely see the Cowboys taking more advantage of this than the New York Jets, but we still need to add to our war chest by any means possible, and it makes sense from a couple different perspectives, but let's dive into the nooks and crannies here. With the Cowboys, you have them coming off a 2024 season that's really a rare anomaly for them, right? The Cowboys have always been known for not just a dominant offensive line, but really having solid top of the league type rushing attacks as well. But they're coming off of 2024 where they finished 24th in rushing attempts, 27th in rushing yards, 32nd in touchdowns, and 30th in yards per carry. And even though Rico Dowdle still was able to salvage a season more so for himself than anybody else by becoming their first undrafted free agent to rush for 1,000 yards, it really was Rico and nobody else. Ezekiel Elliott, Dalvin Cook, Deuce Vaughn, nobody really provided not just a second capable rusher to help supplement Rico Dowdle, but really anytime any of these guys subbed in, it was all left up to Dak Prescott to have to, make miracles happen. And that's too much pressure on any quarterback. You never want those situations. So they're going to look to try to reinvent that running back room and get back to where they're at. Now, this whole conversation starts because Rico Dowdle is going to be due a pretty sizable free agent big payday. He's been an undrafted free agent, so you're talking about him signing deals that, aside from his first one, the 3-year, 2.2-ish, I think, $1 million contract, he's been living off of about a little over $1 million and some change for the last 2 years. Spotrac is estimating that he's been able to bump his value up to maybe being paid about $6.2 million per year, which would be a sizable increase for him, but maybe something that Jerry Jones isn't looking to do. And I would say this is an argument that definitely makes sense, seeing how they moved on from Tony Pollard and haven't really wanted to pay a ton of their prior running backs that big money payday. And I think Ezekiel Elliott is definitely a huge factor in that, and where maybe he didn't live up to the entirety of that secondary contract they decided to give him. But he may be able to get the best of the both worlds here. And for what it's worth, I haven't just seen this prediction happen once. I've seen a couple different outlets not only mention this Breece Hall to Cowboys trade, but cap guys in addition to beat writers and the such. And two of the guys that I would probably throw out here would be Andrew Buller-Roos from Sportsnot and then Michael Giannetti from Spotrac as two of the guys that I really seen kind of trailblazing this idea. But this is one of the things I really liked about this prediction is, from the Cowboys standpoint, this is a trade that people would suggest occurs regardless of if Jerry Jones does have a change of heart and finds a way to keep Rico Dowdle, or if Rico Dowdle does move on and signs a big money deal somewhere else. Breece Hall would be the apple of the Cowboys' eye, and I think it would be a huge welcome trade for him. Breece Hall has been leaving minor hints throughout the entirety of his Jets career about how unhappy it's been, whether it's been due to the struggle on offensive line in front of him, the terrible quarterback play that's forcing him to see 8-man boxes, anytime he's touching the ball, or it's been the OC and them really phasing him out of game plans at certain points, or him not being able to get those touches because we're already being blown out in the first quarter or by the first half. And ultimately just not really being able to be that full workhorse utility guy that he could be. And so it's interesting from my perspective because we've hyped him up as this top 5 or top 3 caliber type running back in the NFL, and it's a young man's game, so he has some advantage, right? He's only 23 years old. I would say the hype from the Jets perspective is maybe just a little bit too much. Definitely a top 10 guy for sure in my book, but if somebody else believes in that hype like the Cowboys team, it could come to our benefit. Now, why would the Jets be looking to trade him? He's coming up on the final year of his contract. As mentioned, he's already dropped hints about him being fairly unhappy. And so maybe you decide you don't want to deal with any potential headache here. Let's move on from him. He's also faced a significant injury and didn't really look like himself last year, even though he was able to put up some pretty solid, maybe even above average numbers in many cases. But he's only played one fully healthy season out of the 3 so far. And again, maybe you look at him as damaged goods if you're Aaron Glenn and company and decide you can get more value out of trading him as opposed to trying to grind it out with him for another year. The other coaching staff, the previous coaching staff anyways, also did the Jets a little bit of a parting gift favor by going extremely young at running back with drafting Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis last year, which, by the way, I'm dropping breakdown videos for them pretty soon too. But this idea would mean that the Jets decide to go extremely young. It would also allow them to dip back into the running back pool this year, which you want that continuous pipeline, and keeping Breece Hall maybe would have not made the most sense in that case. I don't want to get crazy here, but I do recall seeing a mock draft where Ashton Genty was the selection for us at 7. I don't want us to go that crazy, but this running back class is extremely, extremely deep. So I'm not saying you can get a Breece Hall caliber guy, with whatever selection we end up making for him, right? But the numbers would work in our favor if that's the route that we want to go. Reset, not get one guy specifically that this coaching staff felt really good about, and then a freak of his own nature in Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis as your running back by committee group to work around, and you'd have a young core, competition everywhere. It'll kind of be a win-win for everyone. Now, one of the quotes for why this could potentially make sense is really everything that I kind of recapped just now. It says, heading into the final year of his contract, the Jets may prefer trading Hall rather than paying a player that the new regime isn't invested in. And that is a tough situation for Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji to be in, where on paper you have a top 10 running back, but he is coming up on his final year. He has been disgruntled. He is going to be due a big payday. Maybe you go ahead and move on from him again before any headaches start to occur, and you can kind of split as amicably as you can. And in Breece Hall's opinion, I don't think he'd hate going to a dominant offensive line where he knows they're going to want to feed him the rock, and he'll have a solid, number 2 if Rico Dowdle returns, or even if they want to go young themselves, he should be eating up the bulk of those carries. The compensation package for this is what intrigues me. I think it's pretty realistic considering what both sides are working with. The Jets will get the 3rd and 6th picks, and I'm assuming that's going to be in this 2025 NFL draft class. The Cowboys will receive Breece Hall. So ultimately, let me know what you guys think. Fun idea, and one that I think is realistic enough. I do think if anybody of significance gets moved, it would potentially be Breece Hall, even though the offense needs as much support and things as it can get. You would love to try to recoup one of those 3rd-round picks that the Jets potentially could have still had or parlayed into something else that Joe Douglas was just dishing out left and right to, acquiesce Aaron Rodgers here. So let me know what you think, Cowboys fans, Jets fans alike, and I'll catch you guys again. Peace.